and welcome back to the Niche Football Podcast, hosted by me, Cavan Campbell. Now, it's been a while since the last record, but a bit of work and the World Cup has kind of taken a forefront and put this on hold for a few weeks. But who's not been enjoying the World Cup? Because I certainly have. Now, today we're going to be looking at a story which I wrote about a few months ago now. The story of Curaçao. Now, this was written a few months ago, so some of the facts, well, they are true, but we've seen them in the first few games of the World Cup. I just keep an open mind. So, without further ado, let's kick this one off. Let's look at the history first. So, residing quietly as part of the Caribbean islands sits a small autonomous country within the Kingdom of the Netherlands. Historically, being colonised by the Dutch in 1634, Curaçao became a major cog in the Dutch West India Trading Company and played a huge part in the transatlantic slave trade. Curaçao, thankfully, has managed to move on with the times. Slavery was abolished in 1863, and eventually, in 2010, Curaçao became an autonomous region within the Kingdom of the Netherlands, where it remains today. But why are we focusing on this tiny island nation? Well, as we all well know now, they are the smallest nation to ever qualify for the FIFA World Cup. The autonomous region covers just about 171 square miles and is home to just over 155,000 people. This beats Iceland's record of being the least populated nation at a World Cup. And in comparison, Iceland has around 400,000 people, which is over double that of Curaçao, further highlighting how how small this Caribbean nation is. It may come to us as a surprise, but Curaçao have slowly been improving over the years, in particularly since playing under the name of Curaçao, as opposed to the Netherlands Antilles. Since playing under their common name now, the national football team has competed in 4 World Cup qualification campaigns. And with the new FIFA World Cup structure expanding to 48 teams, there has never been a better opportunity. In the first 3 attempts, the Caribbean Islanders played 6 games per rendition, 18 games overall, of which their record isn't too bad. They won 6, drew 6, lost 6. The epitome of constant steadiness. However, in 2026 World Cup qualifying, uh, the opportunity was not going to slip out from their grasp with this time playing 10 games. They won 7, drew 3, and lost none. We have to think with the USA, Canada, and Mexico all having automatic qualification for this tournament. These opportunities for lesser CONCACAF teams was greater than ever before. So this incredible record, 7 wins, 3 draws, losing none. It's even more incredible when you see Jamaica within the same group. On paper, a stronger team and a bigger pedigree to perform on such an occasion. Jamaica was led, until his departure after the qualification, by Steve McClaren, former England head coach. Not to be deterred by names and pedigree, Curaçao came out on the final game to hold Jamaica to a 0-0 draw, which granted them a place at the 2026 World Cup. Not all was lost for Jamaica at the time, though. They were placed into the Interconfederation playoffs, which gave them a chance to make the World Cup, but ultimately they did lose that as well, so they did not make it. But is it a surprise that Curaçao made it? Well, yeah. The nation is tiny, but that doesn't mean the crop of players is below par. Being within the Kingdom of the Netherlands, the player pool is larger than expected. The majority of the current squad, nearly all pretty much, was born in the Netherlands, but have ancestral links to the islands. In fact, the current squad has a littering of ex-Premier League players, both Bakuna brothers, have played in the Premier League for Huddersfield and Aston Villa, respectively. Jurgen Locadia plied his trade for Brighton in 2018, and Tahith Chong, the former Manchester United youngster, has recently won his first few caps since switching allegiances. And interestingly enough, Tahith Chong is the only member of the current squad who was actually born in Curaçao, which I'm pretty sure is even one more than the current Cape Verde squad, who is full of a diaspora of players because I don't think any of them were actually born on them islands. So the emergence of Curaçao as a footballing nation could have come sooner than this recent qualification cycle. Several high player profiles for the Netherlands could have represented the island nation. The likes of Justin Kluivert, Jurrien Timber, and Patrick van Aanholt all passed up the opportunity, instead representing the Netherlands. A dream qualification, a littering of top quality players, and other top quality players that potentially could have played for the nation. All key ingredients to success. It doesn't stop there though. The list of past head coaches in recent times is full of very successful names. Patrick Kluivert, Goose Hiddink, both held the helm for the Caribbean nation. Some would say they succeeded, but it was nothing in comparison to what current head coach Dick Advocat has achieved. Taking charge in only January 2024, Advocat has been a revelation for Curaçao. The stability brought in by Advocat has been key to the success, incorporating a more professional setup when compared to those before him, and the style which he describes as avoid defeat at all costs. Maybe Dick Advocat himself is surprised by not losing a single game though. There are very few more experienced managers than Dick Advocat. This is his 10th national team job, and he's also been head coach of the Netherlands 3 times. And this perhaps has helped lead Curaçao to success. An accolade Curaçao can hold on to regardless of what happens for the remainder of this World Cup. It's been the last champions of the Caribbean Cup. Trinidad and Tobago are record champions with 8 titles, but the last rendition was held in 2017, with Curaçao lifting the trophy. Since then, the competition has been disbanded in favour of the CONCACAF Nations League. So, prior to this World Cup kicking off, what would we have expected from Curaçao? Unfortunately, not a lot. Of course, they won't be able to play a nation from their own confederation, which is disappointing as for them, as CONCACAF is one of the weaker confederations. And unfortunately, it was unlikely that they were only going to overcome the giants from either Europe or South America. Obviously, they have lost 7-1 to Germany, like further showing that they're not quite at the level yet. What would have been nice is if we saw them play one of the weaker Asian or African nations, uh, Cape Verde perhaps, but then again, they've had an incredible tournament thus far. But then Jordan, Uzbekistan could have been a couple of teams, even New Zealand over in Oceania. But they're not out of it just yet. They've still got, well, they've still got a chance to make history, let's say that. Just even being there is making history for Curaçao. And maybe an upset on the cards in the final games. We'll soon see. Why not? They've already defined the odds to get to this tournament. And can they go one step further and get a win? Only we can tell. Only time will tell. With the current squad and the manager and the belief, anything is possible. Not just a small nation within the Kingdom of the Netherlands, or just an island situated where fictitious pirates roam, but a footballing nation on the rise. Now, this story I wrote a few months ago, as mentioned before, which I'll show now. You can find in the Late Tackle magazine. I've got with the middle page spread. It's a great magazine. Go to latetackle.com and see what stores you can get it, or you can order from online. There's also an article by a German football writer, Tom Schmitter, also on Curaçao. He's an excellent writer, and I do urge you to go check his work out. So if you want to learn a bit more about Curaçao, find the Late Tackle magazine in participating shops. Uh, let's wrap this one up then. That's the final whistle for this. So if you do enjoy the pod, leave a 5-star review on Spotify, drop it a like on YouTube where the videos go out. Head over to the website, nichefootballjournalism.co.uk, if you want to read more about Curaçao or perhaps some of the other nations in this World Cup. Follow the socials. We've got TikTok now. We've got the Instagram, which is Niche Football Pod on both, I think. And give them a follow. Go like some of the stuff on there. I have been your host, Cavan, and I'll see you at the next kickoff.